Be very careful, Black folks, when you commit crimes. Like, no, it is what it is. Yeah.
So this one's not a crime. This one is Oprah. People are getting upset at Oprah. I guess she got on Ozempic, they're trying to say now. And she came out discussing some private information things with Whitney Houston.
We did the whole, hey girl, how you doing, greeting thing. And then I stopped the cameras and I went behind stage and I said, so tell me, what do you want? What do you want to happen here? And I'm going to tell you what I want to happen here. And that was one of the most powerful interviews. And do you all know this is an amazing thing that happened? I had such trust from the Oprah show audience that Whitney did, I think it was her last show with us, and she had gone back on drugs. The first interview I did with her when we'd gone behind stage and I asked her about her intention, she was clean. But the day she came to my show then to perform in front of the audience, she was not. And she fell off of the stage. And I knew that if that story got out that she'd fallen off of the stage, that she would be destroyed by that. And so even though the audience was there and the audience had cameras, I begged them not to put those pictures out because it would ruin her life, and they did not.
And what about...
That would not happen today, I could tell you.
What about...
All right, some people are saying that Oprah shouldn't have even told nobody about this incident, that she's spilling the beans because it's Oprah. And that she's passed away. That's the main thing, is that she has passed away.
What year was it? I would think that when so
let me find out.
Whitney passed away in what was
2012.
22. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I remember. I know it was the day before my birthday.
Yeah.
Because I remember it being Grammy weekend, and I remember it was a party that my homegirl was like, "Oh my God, I was at this party off of Argyle," and
September 2009 was the episode.
Okay. 2009. So here's my question. At that time, we were not as phone heavy as we are now. So I would think.
Man, I had the Trail joint, the BlackBerry.
No,
BlackBerry.
I've been flicking.
I will also tell you why that didn't get out. Because as a person, Darrin, I don't know. You've been to studio audience shows. Yeah. They are very strict on that. Like not taking. And even then, like that's what I'm saying. 2009 to now.
Yeah.
It's like it's a different. Even now, you cannot pull your phone or anything out. It is impossible. To do that, like because it's so many. So my question is again, Darrin, when I ask the why, the relevance of this, it would be almost borderline impossible unless somebody leaked the information to TMZ. Where were you? How was this a thing where people were pulling out phones? And I just have a video or photo of Whitney Houston stumbling off the stage, like where she fell. That's weird. That like that's what I'm saying. I'm like, Oprah is an Aquarius, but we do exaggerate sometimes. But again, my question is the why. What's the reasoning? Like, I know this is just an excerpt. Are you talking about how technology has shifted things? What's the purpose behind telling that story?
I mean, I'm going to say this, and I worked on a show with Oprah. She was very nice, by the way, very, very nice. I think right now there is so much discussion in the culture right now about a lot of our legends that have passed now. Obviously, the Michael movie. There's other, projects coming out on various folks who have passed. I think right now, the reason why that story is relevant is because number one, there are certain people in the business, they gonna do and say what they want, period. There's folks like the Oprahs, the Tyler Perrys, the Steven Spielbergs, they have reached a level where if they got some shit they want to share, they're gonna do it. And the general public may not like it, but it won't hurt their careers in the long run. I think so. Are you asking like why Oprah would share that like right now?
Yeah, my question would be, what's the relevance of it now? You know what I mean? This would be something that I would think that you would share maybe a few years like post, but now it's kind of like what's the relevance? So that's why I was saying I'm interested to see what the entire conversation was. Like, is this a conversation surrounding tech, or this is surrounding people using drugs in the industry? Like, what is the conversation? So what is your reason for sharing this information? You know?
I need to watch the whole interview to really answer that, because it just I have really, now we are in such a viral moment and everybody wants to click and likes that it's really hard to have an opinion on just seeing that one clip. So I really want to see, wait, how did they really even get on Whitney in that?
Right.
That's where I stand.
Right.
But I know people are throwing a lot of shade at Oprah, talking a lot of shit about her and all this other stuff. I don't, with all of that, I don't have any comment on that. That's a whole deeper discussion. But I think I will say this though. I do feel, especially in where we are with like Trump being in the White House and how bad things are in the country, I do think we are in this space now where people really are craving more like authenticity now. Like, I feel like people want to see more of the truth now, and they don't want things like hidden. So I'm curious, if I end up watching that whole interview, how they got on Whitney, and maybe Oprah was trying to give some kind of warning about,
it felt like that she was trying to like show how good her crowd was and loyal her crowd was. That's what it felt like at the beginning. Like, I'm gonna give an example how like good my crowd was and like how much they fucked with me, basically.
Yeah, no, I mean, I will say this. I was in the studio audience sitting in the front row at a very high level taping a couple years back.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was like heavy hitting icons on stage behind the camera. We, and I will say this, nothing out of that taping got out. Like, it's a real strict, like, you ain't sitting there on IG or secretly record, because it's like,
there's no way
shit that gets you sued, blackballed. I mean, they might do some criminal like, it's at a certain level where they just don't play that shit, and I don't even think they took our phones at that taping. Like, it's certain
a gentleman's
spaces.
kind of thing. It's a gentleman's handshake or a lady's handshake of like this is kind of like a.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's almost like it's an attitude in the A-list world of, if you even get the invite in this space, you have been vetted, so to speak.
Okay.
But it's also this attitude of fuck around and you will find out. So I would be really, anybody who would leak like footage from the like Oprah show of Whitney, like, those are two big icons right there. With huge teams behind them. Do you really want to fuck with them?
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I was like, I don't, I don't know why phones would be even allowed. Like we didn't, like everybody in 09 did not have an iPhone.
Yeah.
Like you had to, it was like more, I would say we're still segueing out of BBM era. Like people have Blackberries, all this stuff. So that's why I was like, what is going on? Like, how is this a thing? But like I said, if it was something
somebody for sure on that BBM guy, hey, I just saw Whitney Houston's falls.
Right, you could tell somebody.
Somebody got that message though.
Right, but I think it's one of those things where people, when we talk about loyalty, but it's also people in the space also having empathy. You know, like damn, like we thought that Whitney was clean, whatever, blah 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 blah, and to see that's somebody also having empathy, because it's like, damn, this is really bad. Like we've heard reports, but to actually see it with my own eyes, like shit.
I mean, and now I will say this, I wish that footage had leaked, though, only because when she came out with that album and they're making it seem like she's all cleaned up and whatnot, and then she was still using and obviously passed less than 3 years later after that interview. Again, it's something about the entertainment business still that is still very fake still, and people are hiding behind the truth. And in the end, it really does hurt people. Like I remember around that time, like a year earlier, remember the singer Amy Winehouse.
Mm-hmm.
So the previous year, she pretty much swept the Grammys, and Natalie Cole spoke out against that, saying we really shouldn't be celebrating her while she's strung out and this, and she's not really. And Natalie Cole, they dragged her back.
Yeah, but Natalie Cole had her issues and everything. They're trying to say like you can't be
right.
Natalie Cole had her issues, like you can't.
No, right. And Natalie was saying, no, I'm saying this because
I've been there.
My issues. I caught hepatitis C from being a heroin user. I didn't get all those rewards really until after I fucking cleaned my act up. But right now, she was like, this music business is turning a blind eye, and they're trying to prop up this woman, and she ended up being right. And I kind of feel like that. I understand why they hid that footage of Whitney. I understand that. But I do wonder if maybe that had leaked out, maybe, just maybe, that might have saved her life, maybe. And she really, really got some help instead of trying to shove her out there with a new album and a horrible tour that didn't go well. It's a really, with a lot of our icons that have passed, I really do think the lesson is that all that glitters isn't gold. I mean, Whitney was only fucking 48 years old. Michael, only 50. Prince, what, 56 or something? Like, this is still young. George Michael, what, 54, 55? Like, a lot of our 80s and 90s icons, we lost to drugs, like, and stuff. And it's a conversation that I still don't feel like
we talk about enough.
We really talk about. Yeah.
And I mean, we think about, look how many people, like even like in the sense of like a lot of these rappers that we don't know them, but they have some sort of following and fan base and consistently dying of an overdose.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like we don't talk about that enough outside of like the some of the stuff that happens via, you know, violence, but for the most part, a lot of them OD, and you're like, who? What? But I'm like, but what's going on? Like,
well, you know, and it's funny. Like, tell you.
And I was gonna say, hold on, before we before you respond, like it is it was a podcast, and it's these two guys, and like people call in, they say like something crazy, and so this guy was like saying how like what made him change his life and get off of drugs was he was taking perks. And he was like, I was listening to Juice WRLD, and I'm like, didn't he overdose?
Yep.
So he was like, he realized that he hadn't been to the bathroom in like a week. And so he was like, yo, what's going on? And so he called 911. So whatever it is, the guy was like, oh, you must be popping perks. And he was like, yeah. And so ultimately he was like, I finally like went to lay down and I laid on my stomach and I felt my stomach rumble and I went to go have a bowel movement finally after a week. And he was saying, what came out of me? He's like, I mean, I ain't gay. I don't know how they do that, but more power to, like, he made it funny, but it was the realization, like, this can kill you.
Yeah.
You know, not going to the bathroom can kill you.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about, you know, like but even when we talk about like Whitney, you got to talk about how people really didn't look out for her. Being one of them.
Oh yeah.
And even in postmortem, you don't look out for her and you still continue to have a party.
This is my thing. I really, as I navigate my way in this business, one thing that I've done is that I like to tell folks about the good, the bad, and the ugly of entertainment. And this is in every medium. Oftentimes, the majority of these folks, they want you out there making money. Point blank, period. Sometimes they don't give a shit what you're on, what's going on in your personal life. Get out there and make us money, or we don't fuck with you like anymore. Whitney, specifically with her and some of our icons, they saw a level of success that we will never see in this business ever again. Ever. And then being a Black as well, I mean, that's something else, because it's hard for a Black artist to outright just be a pop star for, you know, X amount of years. Yeah. That's really, really hard. But what a lot of the powers that be and a lot of talent don't really discuss, especially when they're at the height of their powers, is the stress that's in like entertainment and the immense pressure, and what leads people to a lot of drugs, sex, whatever, is that everybody needs a vice. Because I was watching an interview with another actor recently, and they were like, yeah, this business will suck you dry, and not in a good way. It's constantly, you know, pulling at you and blah, blah, blah. And so this is something that I do hope that in this new age of podcasting and social media apps, that folks would be more open about the stresses of the entertainment business. And if you don't, you know, if you don't take care of your own mental health, it will fuck you over, you know. It really, really will. So the Whitney stuff, and I mean, people have made jokes and this and that, but that's one of the saddest stories of the music business ever. Yeah. Even sadder, and I don't like to pair, but even still, I mean, it's like worse than Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and all them that died young, because Whitney was around for so long and she made it young, but a lot of that was hidden, and when it did come out, it was made more so as a joke, really, you know.
Well, I mean, I think first it was like, oh, that's a Bobby thing, like Bobby first it was like Bobby is the problem.
Yeah, and
like,
he never was.
Yeah,
and Bobby, you know, and that showed how much he still loved and respected her even post marriage, because he was like, I didn't want to go do all of this tug of war, like, you know, he spoke about that recently. Well,
he always
he never denied it. He just was like, whatever. But then when you found out that, like, you know, like when her brother came out and was like, actually, it's kind of my fault. You know, I introduced her to drugs. It wasn't Bobby. You know, like, remember when all of his everything really started to come
remember
out?
though, me and Dom, you talk all the time. You got Whitney had money for a long
She
time
had money
before
for
she
a
got with
long
Bobby.
time, and that's what people
Bobby was
forget,
still
because
broke off the
people
tour with New Edition, not making no money for real.
right. And so people, and we talk about, we've spoken about this on our show, like Bobby owing some, you know, mob dude or whatever some money,
Yeah.
and they had him, held him
He
for
was
ransom,
kidnapped.
and she went and paid the ransom.
Yeah, it was Preacher. It was the dude. So you know, I like to get in my hood stories. So the same, if you've ever seen the movie Paid in Full, the person that kidnapped Mitch's brother, that's the same guy that kidnapped Bobby Brown too.
Damn.
Yeah, so that's the same guy. The same as that guy. His name is Preacher. Same as that guy who kidnapped both of them.
So it is like you said, it's really sad how even, you know, like that whole story, you know, just like ultimately how they did her. And then when you start really understanding and stories come out, like it's a lot of people that had similar stories, like Phyliss Hyman was talking about, like calling out shit. You know, and unfortunately, like I was like, oh, she had, you know, OD, and it's like, but did she? So it's like
that suicide. Yeah, no, I just want to say this about her. Phyliss Hyman was one of the greatest talents that the music business really did dirty, and she didn't get the success she really deserved because she wasn't willing to play the game, and she had certain mental health issues. But that's another really sad. So, like, she was young when she committed suicide.
Well, I think also physically she's a big woman.
Yeah.
You know, like she was 6'1" or something like that. Like,
you
know, she's an imposing, you know, size woman.
You
know, everybody wants somebody to be petite, you know, just
no. So I do think, you know,
and they used to pit Phyliss versus Whitney too a lot.
No, they did. I mean, and that's
Clive Davis particularly, rest in peace, Clive
Davis.
That's
what I was gonna say.
No, rest in peace. That's something that I always hate when, you know, a lot of the business will pit these women, these artists against each other, but everybody's gonna have a different level of success. Like, again, what Whitney achieved will never ever be surpassed. Like, people just don't sell records like that anymore. But I do
think Hyman didn't want to go poppy because remember at first Clive Davis had her more in the disco, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know how to love me, like that lane. And she was like, no, I want to be soulful, more jazz. And he was like, that's not where the direction I'm going in. So
right. No, I mean, Clive Davis, and I have to finish his book. I mean, anybody that is a suit like him will always want that mainstream crossover success. And what it was when Phyliss and Whitney were out, it was a lot of fucking female artists out. Like, and it's too many to like even name. Then you even had like legends like Aretha and Shaka, them still trying to get hits in the 80s with the youngin. Like it was tough. So those execs like a Clive, they were always like, look, we want you singing pop hits. And Whitney was the one that came along and said, yeah, I'll be soulful, but I don't mind doing a cover of a Dolly Parton song and stuff like that. It's really, so that's something that with Black folks in general in entertainment, I always say, when you get in this shit, you have to know what your goal is. Are you trying to be a mainstream success, or are you just trying to be a living, working artist? And that goes for music, TV, films, whatever.
Absolutely.
And I do think that there are highlights and some very lowlights with both lanes like that. It's really, it's really tough. It's really tough.
Hey y'all, if y'all like what y'all see here on Everyone Needs an Aquarius, be sure to like, subscribe, and share our podcast with your friends because we got all the tea. And, if you want to check out more stuff from us, be sure to hit that button right there on the right side so you can see other stuff and, again, share it with everybody.